So welcome to this video series on aptitude presented by Mentors for IAS in association with Bangalore IAS Academy and Namak APSC. So this is an initiative of Namak APSC to help students to prepare and study from home with the help of YouTube videos, current affairs available on the website, PDF materials for every subject and online tests to track your preparation. So do remember to visit www.namakapsc.com for more information. So in this particular video, in this particular session, we will be continuing to solve more problems on simple interest. So this is actually a simple topic as I had explained in the previous video. So we will solve few more problems and we will try to cover different types of problems when it comes to simple interest. So now let us start with the first question. Now the first question is trying to say that a sum of money amounts to rupees 9,800 after 5 years and rupees 12,005 rupees after 8 years at the same rate of interest. So what is the rate of interest? So according to the question, some amount of money, for example, is kept in the bank and they give some rate of interest R. At that particular rate of interest for that particular amount of time, if he leaves the amount untouched after 5 years, he is going to receive how much? Rupees 9,800. Now this rupees 9,800 is the principal amount plus the interest that he gains on the principal amount. Similarly, if he leaves the same amount untouched for 8 years, he would receive 12,005 rupees, where once again 12,005 rupees is nothing but the sum of the principal as well as the simple interest at that rate of interest, that is R, for 8 years. So if that is the case, what is the rate of interest? Therefore we have to determine the rate of interest over here. So what we will do is we will take the first case. Okay, we will take the first case, that is for 5 years. So for 5 years, if the principal amount is untouched, after 5 years he will receive the principal amount plus the simple interest back from the bank, which is equal to 9,800, which is equal to 9,800 rupees. Now the second case, that is for 8 years. Now similarly, if the same principal amount, that is P, is left untouched for 8 years, then after 8 years he will receive the simple interest plus the principal amount back, which is equal to rupees 12,005 rupees. Now what if I subtract the first case from the second case, that is 2 minus 1, or the principal plus simple interest minus of 8 years minus the principal plus simple interest of 5 years. What will you get? This is of 8 years minus 5 years. What do we get? We get 12,005 minus 9,800. So this is 1, this is 9, and so sorry, this is, sorry, my mistake, this is 10 over here. Okay, so 5 minus 0 is 5, 0 minus 0 is 0, 10 minus 8 is 2, and then 11 minus 9 is once again 2. What do we get? 2 minus 1, or 12,005 rupees minus 9,800 rupees is nothing but 2,205 rupees. Now what is this 2,205 rupees? This 2,205 rupees is nothing but the simple interest that would be received for a period of 3 years. Correct? See, this is principal amount plus simple interest for 5 years. 12,005 is 12,005 rupees is principal amount plus simple interest for 8 years. So when you subtract 12,005 rupees minus 9,800 rupees, principal amount gets cancelled. Simple interest of 8 years minus simple interest of 5 years will give you simple interest of 3 years, which is equal to 2,205 5 rupees. So if the simple interest for 3 years is equal to 2205 rupees, then what is the simple interest for 5 years? Now we are simply going to cross multiply. So what is it? What is the simple interest for 5 years? It is nothing but 5 into 2205 divided by 3. So we'll try this. 3 sevens are 21, 1 0, 3 threes are 9, 1 5, 3 fives are 15. So this is nothing but 5 into 735. How much is it? 735 into 5, 5 fives are 25, 5 threes are 15, 15 to 17, 7 5 is 35, 36. Therefore, the simple interest for 5 years is how much? It is 3675 rupees. Now if you take the first case scenario over here, look here, what is 9800? 9800 is nothing but the sum of principal amount plus simple interest, where this simple interest is what we have just determined it. This is nothing but 3675 rupees. Then if we want the principal amount, what is the principal amount? Principal amount will be 9800 minus the simple interest, which is nothing but 9800 minus 3675. So we have 9800 and we have 3675 over here. So how much do we get if you subtract? So this is 9, this is 10, 10 minus 5 is 5, 9 minus 7 is 2, 7 minus 6 is 1, 9 minus 3 is nothing but 6. Therefore, the principal amount is equal to 6125 rupees. Now, what is the question asking for? Question is asking for the rate of interest. Now, we know that simple interest SI is equal to P into R into T divided by 100, where we have to determine the rate of interest. In order for us to determine the rate of interest, we need the principal amount, we need the time period, we need the simple interest. Now, if you take or if you consider the case for 5 years, don't we know the simple interest? Simple interest is what? 3675 over here. What is the principal? We just determined 6125. What is time period? I just said 5 years. Then it is possible for us to determine the rate of interest over here. So what will we do? We'll write SI as 3675 is equal to principal amount, that is 6125 into R into 5 divided by 100. Therefore, rate of interest is what? It is 3675 into 100 divided by 6125 into 5 into 5. So if we simplify this, we should be able to get the answer. Okay, so I think let me just clear some more space over here. So I'm going to write this over here now. We have 3675 into 100 divided by 6125 into 5 over here. So this is 5 times. So we'll go 5 sevens are 35. 1 carry 7, 5 threes are 15, 2 carry 5 fives are 25. Now this again we'll go for 5, 5 ones are 5, 2 3, 5 fours are 20, 3 5, 5 sevens are 35. Now this is by 5, 5 ones are 5, 1 1, 5 twos are 10, 1 2, 5 twos are 10, again 5. Now this is not divisible by 5, but if I look at 14 and 7, it is divisible by 7. But I'll have to check if this is also divisible by 7. So 7 ones are 7, 5, 2, so 3, yes, this is also divisible by 7. So if I try with 7, 7 twos are 14, 7 ones are 7, 7 ones are 7, 5 and 2 52, 7 sevens are 49, 3 and 5, 7 fives are 35. Again this goes with 7, 7 twos are 14, 3 5, 7 fives are 35, and this is what? 7 threes are 21, 25 fours are 100. So what do we have in the numerator? 3 and 4. In the denominator 1 and 1. Therefore the rate of interest is equal to 3 into 4, which is equal to 12%. This is equal to 12%. Therefore, what is the correct answer? The correct answer, that is the rate of interest, is 12%. The correct option is option C. It is option C. So now let us move on to the next question. Question number 2. Now what does question number 2 say? Question number 2 says the simple interest on a certain sum at a certain annual rate of interest is 1/9 of the sum, or 1/9 of the sum. Now, if the number representing the rate of interest and the time in years be equal, then what is the rate of interest? Now, similar to the previous question, over here as well, we'll have to determine the rate of interest itself. Now, if you read the question, that is the first statement carefully, what is it trying to say? The simple interest on a certain sum, that is simple interest on a principal amount at a certain rate of interest, will be equal to 1/9 of the principal sum. Meaning, if we take P as the principal amount, if P is the principal amount which we do not know, then the simple interest with respect to this particular question is nothing but 1/9 of the principal amount. Therefore, SI, that is simple interest, is nothing but P divided by 9. The question further says that if the number representing the rate of interest, that is R, and the time in years be equal, then what is the rate of interest? So, according to this question, numerically R is equal to T. Numerically R is equal to T. So, if the rate of interest is 12%, then the time will also be 12 years. That is what the question is trying to say. So, now what do we have to determine? We have to determine the rate of interest. So, in order to do that, we know that simple interest is equal to principal amount into rate of interest into time divided by 100. Where simple interest is what? Simple interest is nothing but P divided by 9 is equal to P into R. That is rate of interest into T. T is what? T is also equal to rate of interest itself numerically. Therefore, I'll write T as well as R, whole thing divided by 100. Now, P and P gets cancelled. I'll take R to the left hand side. So, what do we get on the left hand side? We have 100 over 9 is equal to R into R, which is nothing but R square. What does this mean? We take square root on both sides. We get 10. Root of 100 is what? Square root of 100 is 10. Square root of 9 is 3 is equal to R. Therefore, rate of interest is nothing but 10 by 3%. It is 10 by 3%. Therefore, the correct answer is 10 by 3%. The correct option is option A for question number 2. Now, moving on to question number 3. Now, question number 3 says, A lends rupees 2,500 to B and a certain sum to C at the same time at 7% per annum simple interest. Now, if after 4 years A altogether receives rupees 1,120 as interest from B and C, then the sum lent to C is what? That is what the question is trying to say. So, based on what the question is trying to say, we have A over here who lends to B rupees 2,500 at a rate of interest of 7% for 4 years. At the same time, while lending rupees 2,500 to B, A will also lend to C some amount which we don't know, let it be P, that is with respect to C, at the same interest rate of 7% for 4 years. Now, after 4 years, that is at the end of the time period, both B and C will give the simple interest, the interest that is charged based on the rate of interest, the interest that is charged on the principal amount, both B and C return that interest amount back to A. Now, the total amount returned by both B and C is equal to 1120 rupees, where part of it is B, part of it is C. So now we have to determine what was the amount, the principal amount that was actually lent to C in the first place. That is what we have to determine. In order for us to determine the principal amount, we need everything else. Do we have the rate of interest? Yes. Do we have the time period? Yes. Do we have the simple interest? No. We have to determine the simple interest that C returns to A. How do we determine that? We have to determine out of 1120 rupees what is C's simple interest that C is returning. How can we determine that? For that we need the simple interest that B is also determining. In order to determine the simple interest returned by B to A, we'll have to calculate the simple interest from the information which is given in the question. So first we'll take the amount of money that is lent to B. So in this case, what is the principal amount? The principal amount is rupees 2500. What is the rate of interest? Rate of interest is equal to 7%. What is the time period? Time period is nothing but 4 years. Then simple interest, which is equal to P into R into T divided by 100, is nothing but 2500 into 7 into 4, whole thing divided by 100, whole thing divided by 100 over here. So 0 and 0 gets cancelled, 0, 0. 4 into 25 nothing but 100. This is equal to 700 rupees. Therefore, the SI, that is simple interest that B returns to A at the end of 4 years for 2500 rupees as principal amount is nothing but 700 rupees. Now, the simple interest of B plus the simple interest of C that both of them return, the total is equal to 1020. But we have just determined that this is nothing but 700 rupees. Then simple interest of C plus 700 is now equal to 1120. I take 700 to the other side. We have 1120 minus 700 is equal to simple interest that C is returning, which is nothing but 300 plus 120, nothing but 420 rupees. Okay, so the simple interest that C has to return after 4 years at the rate of 7% for that principal amount is nothing but 420 rupees. So now we will consider the second case, that is A lending money to C. Principal amount we do not know, we have to determine what is the sum lent to C. Rate of interest is 7% itself, time period is 4 years and simple interest is 420 rupees. Therefore, once again, SI is equal to P into R into T divided by 100, where 420 is equal to P into 4 into 7 divided by 100 divided by 100. So this is what 7 6 are 42, 7 6 are 42, 15 4 are 60. Therefore, what is the principal amount? Principal amount is nothing but 15 into 100. Taking 100 to the left hand side over here, what do we get? We get 1500 rupees. Meaning what? A is lending rupees 1500 rupees to C, for which he repays, he gives the interest of 420 rupees. Therefore, the correct option is what? The correct option is option B. The correct answer is rupees 1500. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 4. Now, what does question number 4 say? Now, question number 4 says the difference between the simple interest received from two different sources on rupees 1500 for 3 years is rupees 13 and 50 paise. What is the difference between the rates of interest? Okay, so here the difference between the simple interest from two different sources. So to two different, so say for example, the lender, Okay, so the lender is lending rupees 1,500 to two different borrowers for a period of 3 years. Now, the rate of interest that he is charging charging when it comes to these two borrowers is not equal. That therefore, the simple interest that both these borrowers are going to repay to the lender will also vary, and therefore there's a difference of rupees 13 rupees and 50 paise. If that is the case, what is the difference between the rate of interest that is charged on the two borrowers by the single lender over here? So we'll take the first case. Okay. So let me write the simple interest with respect to the first borrower as S1. Okay, let it be S1. Let simple interest be S1. This is equal to P1 R1 into T1 divided by 100. So here P is what? It is 1,500 rupees. R we don't know. R1 we don't know. P1 is equal to P2, which is nothing but 1,500. T1 is equal to T2, which is nothing but 3 years. So S1 is equal to what? S1 is nothing but 1,500 into 3 years, that is for time, into R1 we don't know, divided by 100. 0 and 0 gets cancelled. Therefore S1 is equal to what? 15 3s are 45. We have 45 R1. That is the simple interest in the first case. Consider the second case. Let me write simple interest as S2 for second case. What do we get? We get principal amount, rate of interest and time period divided by 100. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the principal amount remains the same, that is 1,500. Rate of interest we do not know, however the time period remains the same. So what do we get? We get 1,500 into 3. 3 is nothing but time period, 3 years, into rate of interest, that is the second case, divided by 100. 0 0 gets cancelled. This is equal to what? Once again, nothing but 15 into 3 is nothing but 45 into R2. 45 into R2. Now, based on the question, the difference between the simple interest in the two cases is equal to 13.5 rupees. Meaning what? S1 minus S2 is equal to 13 rupees and 50 paise. What is S1? 45 R1 minus what is S2? 45 R2 is equal to 13 rupees 50 paise. Therefore, 45 into R1 minus R2 is equal to 13 rupees 50 paise, or R1 minus R2. Now what is R1 minus R2? R1 minus R2 is nothing but the difference between their rates of interest. That is what the question is now trying to ask, and that is what we are determining. So R1 minus R2 is nothing but the difference between the rates of interest, which is equal to 13 rupees 50 paise divided by 45, or I am going to write it as 135 divided by 450. Now this is very simple. 45 plus 45 is nothing but 90. 90 plus 45 is what? Nothing but 135. So 45 threes are is 135. 45 tens are is 450. Therefore, the rate of interest between the two cases, that R1 minus R2, is nothing but 0.3%. Therefore, the correct option is option C. The correct answer is 0.3%. Next question, question number 5. Okay, now question number 5 is now a part of your data sufficiency. Okay, now this is your data sufficiency now. Now, the question is asking what is the principal sum, correct? Now, if you take the first statement, okay, now we have to determine the principal sum by considering the information which is contained in the three statements. So we have to determine the principal sum over here. So the first statement says the sum amounts to rupees 690 in 3 years at simple interest. So after 3 years, the total amount of money that is returned is equal to 690 rupees. What does this mean? So for a time period of 3 years at some rate of interest, The principal amount plus the simple interest is equal to 690 rupees. It is nothing but 690 rupees. Now, however, with this much information, it is difficult for us to determine the principal amount, because obviously we will need the rate of interest as well. Once we have the rate of interest, it is very simple to determine. Now let us consider the second statement. The second statement says the sum amounts to rupees 750 in 5 years at simple interest. Okay, now this is also very simple to the first, similar to the first statement. Now what the second statement is saying is that if the time period is 5 years at some rate of interest R, the amount of money which is returned after 5 years, that is principal amount plus simple interest, will be equal to 750 rupees. Now, however, only second statement is also not possible over here. We cannot determine the answer only from the second statement. And also, if you look at the options, that is A, B, C and D, we know that we need at least 2 statements in order to determine the answer. So now let us try from these 2 statements. Is it possible for us to determine the solution from statement 1 and statement 2? Now in both the cases, the rate of interest will remain the same, because the question is not mentioning any change in rate of interest. Therefore, let the rate of interest be R% itself. So if you take the first case over here, simple interest in the first case is equal to P into R into T divided by 100, correct? So what I will do is, I will write the simple interest in the first case. What is simple interest? Simple interest is nothing but 690 minus P. 690 minus P. So I will write 690 minus P is equal to P into R into 3 divided by 100. Therefore, 690 minus P is equal to, I will write it as 3PR divided by 100. Okay, so at this stage, let it be like this itself. Now take the second case. Here also simple interest nothing but P into R into T divided by 100 over here. So in this case, I am going to write simple interest as what? 750 minus P. I will write it as 750 minus P. So we have 750 minus P is equal to, in this case, it is what? It is 5 years. Therefore, 5PR divided by 100 over here. So what I will do is that from the first equation, okay, from the first equation, let me write it over here. From the first equation, what I will do is I'll bring 3 to the left hand side. So we have 690 minus P divided by 3 is equal to PR by 100. So now if you look at the second equation over here we have PR divided by 100. So now I will substitute PR divided by 100 as 690 minus P divided by 3. So what do we get? We get 750 minus P is equal to 5 into 690 minus P divided by 3. So now I'll take 3 to the other side. So we have 3 into 750 minus 3P is equal to 5 into 690 minus 5P. Therefore, if I bring 5P to the other side, we have 5 minus 3P, that is 2P, is equal to, I bring 3 into 750 to the other side, we have 5 into 690 minus 3 into 750. Now, based on this information, don't you think we can determine the value of P? Of course, we can determine the value of P. Just multiply 5 into 690 and then subtract 3 into 750, whole thing divided by 2, you should be able to determine the principal amount. Therefore, it is possible for us to make use of the first statement and the second statement to determine the principal amount, that is the value of principal sum. However, we have third statement, that is the interest rate, now given as 5%. Earlier, what did we do? Since we did not know the value of R, we substituted for R, we nullified R. However, if you take the third statement now, consider the first statement and the third statement. Okay, now we know rate of interest to be 5% per annum. Now, don't you think it is simple for don't you think we can determine the value of P here? Take the first equation itself over here. So we have 690 minus P is equal to 3P into 5 divided by 100. So what do we have? We have one relation over here where P is the only unknown variable. Now don't you think it is possible for us to determine the value of P, that is principal sum? Of course we can do it. Similarly, we can also substitute R as 5 over here to get 750 minus P is equal to 25P divided by 100. See, all these steps are actually not necessary. This is only to prove that all three statements are useful and we are able to determine the principal sum by making use of any of the two statements. I have done all these steps. It is not at all necessary. Only by reading the statements you should have been able to determine what is the correct answer. The correct answer is any two of the three statements. Therefore the correct option is option D. So by making use of the first statement or second statement, you can determine principal sum. In first statement and third statement also possible. Second and third statement also possible. So any two statements is enough to answer this question. Therefore the correct answer is any two of the three. The correct option is option D. Now moving on to the third question. Okay, sorry, the sixth question. Now the sixth question says a person invested in all, meaning in total, rupees 2,600 at 4%, 6% and 8% per annum simple interest. At the end of the year, he got the same interest in all the three cases. So what is the money invested at 4%? So what did he do? He took the amount rupees 2,600. Okay. He broke this into three parts. Let me say it is P1, P2 and P3. So what did he do? He took 2,600 and he divided it into three parts. That is P1, P2 and P3, where P1 is not equal to P2 is not equal to P3. Now he invested P1 at 4% for a time period of 1 year. P2 at 6% also for 1 year and P3 at 8% also for 1 year. So for the first case he would get simple interest. Also for the second case he would get simple interest after 1 year. Also for the third case he would get simple interest for the third case. However, the simple interest that he gains in the first case is equal to the simple interest in the second case is equal to the simple interest in the third case. If that is the situation with respect to this particular question, what is the value of P1? That is what the question is trying to ask over here. So if simple interest in first case is equal to simple interest in second case is equal to simple interest in third case, what is the value of P1? What is simple interest? Nothing but P into R into T divided by 100, where T is what? T is equal to nothing but 1. R1, that is in the first case, is equal to 4%. R2 in the second case is equal to 6%. R3 in the third case is equal to 8%. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to represent simple interest in terms of its principal amount, rate of interest and time period. So what is SI1? Simple interest 1 equal to nothing but P1 into 4 divided by 100 equal to P2 into 6 divided by 100 is equal to P3 into 8 divided by 100, where P1 plus P2 plus P3 is equal to 2,600. So look here, 100, 100 and 100 gets cancelled. Since the question is now asking for P1, what I will do is, I will substitute P2 in the form of P1. I'll substitute P3 in the form of P1. So take this equation over here. Okay. So we have P1 plus P2. What is P2? Take this relationship over here. Take this relationship over here. We have P1 into 4 is equal to P2 into 6. Correct? So 2 and 3. Therefore, P2 is what? Nothing but 2P1 by 3. So I'll write it as 2P1 divided by 3 plus P3. What is P3? P1 into 4 is equal to P3 into 8. Therefore 4 2s are 8. P3 is nothing but P1 divided by 2. I'll write it as P1 divided by 2 is equal to 2600. Let me take LCM 6. So we have 6P1 plus 4P1 plus 3P1 is equal to 2600. 6 plus 4 10, 10 plus 3 13. We have P1 is equal to 2600 into 6 divided by 13. 13 2s are 26, 0 and 0. 6 2s are 12,200. Therefore, what is the question asking for? The first part P1, that is the amount of money invested at 4%. What is that amount of money? It is rupees 1200. Therefore, the correct answer is rupees 1200. The correct option is option D. So with this particular video, I will be ending our discussion with respect to when it comes to simple interest, so that in the next video onwards, we can take up compound interest. So there are 3 practice questions over here. Do try to solve them. The solutions for which, or not the solutions, sorry, the answers, the correct answers for which will be marked in the, will be posted in the comment section. If you still do have any doubts, please do write to us in the comment section. So thank you for watching. If you did like the video, please do subscribe and follow us.